All right, hello, welcome. This is episode 40 of So Well Spoken. I'm Morris. With me is Angelus.
Yo.
And Mike. You could find us at sowellspoken.com. We're on Twitter as So Well Spoken Pod. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much everywhere where you could listen to a podcast. First thing I want to get into just like immediately is Luke Cage, because we haven't talked about Luke Cage yet. I know both you said that you watched at least some of it, right?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
You both finished it?
Yeah, I finished it the same day.
It took a couple days for me.
Oh yeah, I do remember you, Mike, in the Twitter chat saying that you were like marathoning it as soon as it dropped, right?
Yeah, like I was like surprised because I usually don't like binge watching stuff, so I just got it one more. I was like, oh, Luke Cage, and I ended up watching it like the entire day. So,
what'd you guys think of it?
I'm gonna let Angelus go first. He's the more critical out of us, so. On the spot.
Really. There were a lot of things I liked about it. Like, number one, I like the predominantly black cast, where there was no overtone of white savior involved, which was pretty dope. I liked the fact that many of the black women that were put in there were darker skinned women. Some of my criticisms had to really do with how they handle Luke Cage versus his comic book counterpart. Like, Luke Cage, the comic book counterpart, he is basically the modern day Black Lives Matter in comic book form, right? His current incarnation is anyway. And in the TV show, I felt like they kind of pulled back on that a little bit, trying to make him a little bit more, I guess, palatable to the older generation. And so it was like, he said like a lot of things in there that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. Like, he didn't like being called nigga by other black people because he felt that it was demeaning to him as a black man. And excuse me, there was like a few times he was talking about, it was kind of like this weird abstract way of saying all lives matter type nonsense. Like, it felt like that was an undertone. But again, like, I felt that they were trying to make Luke Cage both palatable to both the young generation, millennials, and then the older generation of black folks who grew up like in the Black Panther civil rights era. And I don't think they really nailed that too well. Like, it's like a little stumbling block for me, in my opinion. And they really tried to, as far as like the theme of the TV show and like the cinematography and things like that, they really leans heavy on that old school black exploitation type stuff. And I don't know, like, it was just kind of weird to watch it because like the music would come in at the most random times and you're just like, what the hell is going on right now? And it kind of took me out of it a little bit, but like overall I liked what they were doing and the story that they were trying to convey with it. I liked the characters, like the guy who played Luke Cage. I think he could have been better, Michael Colton, but like he did an admirable job all in all. Like, I think the best person on that TV show was Mariah. Is it Maria? I don't know, but like, I think that her character arc was like the best out of all of them. But I mean, like, overall, as far as like Netflix shows go, it's probably like I don't know, I'd probably say it's my third favorite. I still think Jessica Jones, despite all of its shortcomings, is still the best thing that Marvel's done on the Netflix series.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Ugh. Well, I think it's the best, sans like the first part of Daredevil season 2 or whatever, which is kind of saying a lot about Daredevil, but I actually liked it a lot. I did notice that that was only like one line though where he was like, I don't like to be called anybody's nigga. I was like, really, dog? Really?
Well, he also did it again inside jail too. He does it a lot though.
I only noticed like twice, but in jail I was kind of figuring, okay, yeah, he's just like old school black dude or whatever, right? So I'm like, I'm not really. It didn't bother me too much. It's just like, okay, because there, right immediately after he's like pulled the trigger, nigga, I was like, oh well, hell, make up your mind. So I was like, I didn't really mind Mike Coulter too much. I thought he was pretty good. He seemed to fit like this bland Captain America is superhero niche that hasn't been filled with Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones because they got their own little flavors or whatever. they just took his invincibility powers, I felt like, and just made that his character. He's invincible. He's kind of like stone cold at times, but he has this secret emotional depth that he just doesn't let get out. That's how I kind of read the character. I never read Luke Cage or whatever. So I know
he's a black man.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
He's a stereotype man.
Yeah, so dang. How'd you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard exterior, soft interior.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of read the character. But everything else about the show was dope. Dope villains. Like some of the best villains Marvel's had, period. Besides like Zemo from Civil War and Loki. And that's sad to say for Marvel because they have a lot of good villains. I mean, Loki just gets it by default because he's like the only interesting villain they had. But besides and Kingpin.
Which King? Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I was thinking about the old Daredevil movie.
Yeah, no, not Michael Clark Duncan. Rest in peace. But I like the villains. Cottonmouth was dope. I thought Diamondback was
dope.
I like Diamondback too because he just had this like old school blaxploitation villain type. Like you got like more recent villain with like Cottonmouth and his complexities or whatever. Then you got Mariah that kind of was in between the comic booky old school blaxploitation kind of villainy that was more. It was more of her villainous origin story than anything else in the story. Besides Luke Cage, and then you have Diamondback, who just kind of came out of nowhere at first, but then I like enjoyed every single bit of him as soon as he was like introduced. I like Misty Knight in that last scene, bro. I was like, yo,
dude, yeah, like she killed that role, like
yes,
like I'm so happy that they gave her that role because like I felt that role was made for her. Like she absolutely killed it. I was like, yo. And as you said, the very, very last scene when she had that throw up, I was like, yo, she needs her own fucking series.
Yeah, for real. Is she going to be in Iron Fist?
I don't think they said no.
Wow.
But she's going to be in Defenders though.
Of course.
So I'm thinking that they're going to make Colleen, love interest, not Misty. Yeah. Which makes sense given America's fetishization of Asian women.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. But, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much because I wasn't initially looking forward to it. I don't know why I wasn't. Just like, okay, Luke Cage. Probably because I wasn't too disappointed in Mike Coulter himself because I knew what he was doing in Jessica Jones or whatever. And so I kind of expected that in Luke Cage. And I got exactly what I expected. So I wasn't disappointed or really just like, oh, he's doing so great. It's just like, okay. That's the kind of character he's on. Okay, I got you. But yeah, it was way better than Jessica Jones. I couldn't stand the last few episodes of Jessica Jones. I was like, nah, bro.
It's crazy.
I was like, nah, bro, you can't. Still, they both still have the issue of their Netflix series kind of being like 2 episodes.
They need to drop it down to like 10.
Yeah,
like 10 or 11 would be like optimal because like you can tell like I think it was like episode 6 or 7 where they had to pad it out a little bit, and you're just like, yo, just move it along, yo. Mm-hmm. Like all of Marvel's Netflix series have that problem. Even Daredevil season 2. Like you would think that after the, criticism of that whole, well, you guys got these 13 episodes and you're padding it, and we can tell that they would, do something to change it. But you watch the next series and it's the exact same issue again. Yeah,
that's what kind of got me. I was like, okay. But I didn't really mind too much in Luke Cage. I felt like they had a lot more to play with. When it comes to their storylines or whatever, it wasn't like Daredevil with a hand just kind of came out of nowhere. Instead of the second half of season 2, or kind of, I think season 1 kind of played out in the same way. Or with Jessica Jones, where they just extended the same exact plot line. They really padded that show. That's why I don't really like it that much. Cause like, they just padded it too much. With Luke Cage, I felt like while they probably went over, it wasn't as bad because they had a lot more to work with, But yeah, I enjoyed it. Looking forward to Iron Fist.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I will say that I did not like the actor who they used for Shades. Like,
I like Shades.
I wanted to like him so bad, but like at no point was he ever intimidating to me, even inside the jail cell. Like I'm just like looking at Michael Colton's big behind, and I see this little dude Shades. I'm like, you're scared of him, Brian? Like, you're scared of him? Like, come on, man. And then like every time he would actually take off his shades, I'm expecting him to do something. And it's just like nothing. It's just like, I thought this dude had a power or something, man. Like, you're so...
I look at the comics, and apparently he does, so I don't know if he's...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I know that he does. I'm just like, I was expecting him to use it, and I'm just like, okay, you're just taking off your shades.
Ain't he like a discount, like Cyclops or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I don't like, I think the reason I like Jessica Jones a little bit better was the story that they were conveying was very layered. You know, it was talking about something that doesn't get talked about a lot is like, you know, rape victims and what happens to them afterwards and how they cope with it. And that's the reason why I liked it so much, not to take anything away from Luke Cage. But like, honestly, as much as I love Luke Cage, I didn't really fully understand what they were trying to do with the story as far as his character goes. Like, his particular character arc to me was kind of lost amongst everybody else's amazing character development, like Cottonmouth, Mariah, everybody had like these amazing, even Diamondback, who got introduced in the second half of the series, had this amazing character arc. You went to his backstory to understand, you know, why he is the way he is. And they did that a little bit with Luke Cage, but I feel like they could have done more with that, because like Luke Cage as a comic book character has so much depth to him, and it's ridiculous, like how it was, you know, shown on screen. Like, it was done pretty well. I'm not trying to say it was garbage or anything like that. I just felt that given Netflix's Marvel's other series, that they could have done a much better job with the central character.
I think with Luke Cage's thing, I think what they were trying to do, I've noticed this between all the superhero shows I watched recently, is that they're focusing on the idea of heroism or whatever. And I think what they wanted to do was push him in that hero direction for, I don't know, it's like they try to force him to kind of in that direction or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he's a hero for hire. Like, I thought they would have extended that a little bit more than they did.
That's what I was expecting, honestly. Yeah. And I was like, yo, y'all gonna do the whole hero for hire?
They only did it for like maybe like 2 or 3 episodes, and then they just cut it off over there. Cause I think what they did was kind of rush his development towards being an actual superhero rather than, you know, just the first, you know, the initial hero for hire. He did it for like 2 or 3 episodes, and he's like, okay, now I'm just a hero, and now I'm running, and now I'm a hero again, you know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird how they kind of did that. So I can understand why people may have gotten mixed up in the plotting of the show when it comes to him. So they kind of should have kind of took a little bit more time on making him a hero instead of just like, oh yeah, you're a hero, you got powers, here you go.
Hopefully season 2 they rectify all that. One thing I did completely laugh at was the whole love angle. Like, I tried my best to suspend my disbelief, but the way they presented him being in love with that woman was the most hilarious shit ever. Because in Jessica Jones, they made it seem like this dude had known this woman for like years and years, and like they've been together for like damn near just as long, right? And then you get the actual Luke Cage TV show, and it's like, oh, he met her while he was a prisoner, and she was, you know, the psychologist, and they knew each other for a couple months, and then got married, and then she died. And it's just like, okay, what?
I think it's like he was like dependent on her almost, because she was the only one he thought was really for, like, in that prison or whatever, besides his little homie that was with him in jail. She was the only one that kind of believed him and helped him out afterwards, even though she was part of the reason why he's the way he is now, which I thought was just like, dang. But I actually did kind of like that twist. But
I like the twist. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That was
but the relationship is kind of weird though, especially because like the first episode, when you see her again in that picture, you're just like, okay, I forgot all about this storyline. I literally ejected it from my mind or whatever when I started watching the first episode, and I was like, oh right. And then they kind of lead up to it, and then they don't really go in depth of like how he really just fell in love with her. Beyond that, yeah, I can see why it could cause issues, because I'm just like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, it felt so forced. I was like, man, you guys should have, like, if anything you should have dragged out, it should have been this right here, yo. Like,
yeah. I could tell the series has like a problem just kind of like just focusing on Luke himself, because everybody else is just so dope. They just had an issue on focusing on him or whatever. So I can see why people kind of thought he was being bad. I just think they just didn't give him enough time to do anything. It's kind of like the issue they have, except it's worse in this case in Man of Steel and in Batman v Superman. They don't let Clark say anything. They don't let him do anything heroic. So it kind of comes off as him being mopey and depressed or whatever. The thing about Clark, which the thing about Clark, and they showed it in this with the season premiere of Supergirl this second season or whatever, was that Clark can be a dope person. He's basically like Cap. Like, you just make him, moral, and you make him kind of like stand beyond these people that persecute him or whatever, just like they kind of did with Luke or whatever. They had the same freaking arc or whatever. Luke Cage did a superhero arc better than Batman v Superman did, and that's sad. But given how little they develop Luke Cage or whatever, but it's that same issue I have a problem with, and I feel like while they almost avoided that, they still had the same issue because people really ain't really attached to the character like that, I've noticed. So that's something you honestly need to work on, is making him a lot more relatable to the viewer, and you need to kind of just push him a little bit more and focus on him a little more instead of focusing on your supporting cast, because your supporting cast shouldn't be the only like motivating members of the show. It should be your main character first and foremost, unless it's an ensemble piece like the Avengers, but it's not like that. So what's coming out first, Defenders or Luke Cage season 2?
Well, Iron Fist is next, and then it's Defenders.
Okay, I was wondering.
So basically, I'm not sure if Jessica's in it, but Luke, Daredevil, Iron Fist are going to be part of the Defenders. I think Jessica's in it too. So yeah, that's why they introduced them first, so that they can all come together.
All right, let's go to the next topic. That's enough Luke Cage. I don't really want to talk about Nate Parker.
You don't?
Not a whole lot. Like, I'll touch on it a little bit. I don't want to devote too much time to him. Basically, his movie came out. More people were able to see it and basically say that it's not what we thought it was going to be.
It's basically the story of Nate Parker.
Yeah, Nate Parker took a lot of creative liberty with the story. It didn't portray the women in the movie very well, and not accurately on top of that.
Nope.
Like, he made them look really shallow and victimized, and like they're helpless and they needed the help of the men around them, which history tells us was not the case. And so, yeah, critics are not being very kind to the movie. Nobody and that's already on top of the news of him trying to counteract the news of his alleged rape case, where he has not come across as very apologetic or caring at all, really. But anyway, I just want to use that to segue into some movies that maybe people should go see, because I know I personally was really looking forward to Birth of a Nation when I first saw the trailer.
I was too.
Yeah.
It looked really good. The Sundance response was very positive, and then it kind of fell to shit after that. But there's a Disney movie with Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
Called Queen of Catway, which has been out for like a month almost now, about a chess prodigy. You've seen it, Angelus?
Yep.
Was it good?
Any good?
I liked it a lot. I think I doubt Lupita's going to get a nomination for it, but I feel like she should have, because like there's a certain scene in there that if you have any type of empathy and you're an emotional person of any kind, it should hit you a little bit. Because it definitely hit me. Like, my eyes were watering. I was like, oh God, onions inside a movie theater. But like, it's a really good movie, and I'm actually really happy that Disney even produced it, because I was shocked when I found out that it was a Disney property. I was like, oh crap, are you serious? Disney? Dang.
Disney has done a pretty weak job promoting it, though.
I don't know. I've been getting mad trailers. I'm getting like mad trailers over here, so I don't know.
Seriously, like, I have never seen a trailer for it. Like, it wasn't for the fact that I'm on Twitter, I would have never known it existed.
Yeah, I knew about it because of Twitter, and I watch TV. I watch cable TV all the time. I haven't seen an ad for it.
I've been seeing like a lot of commercials. I've seen them like last time I went to the movies. Where did I go see? Don't Breathe. I saw a trailer for there in that movie. That was like a horror movie, which was kind of odd. And I've been seeing it on TV for like the last few weeks. So like during Atlanta and during a lot of other stuff. So it's like, I haven't really been interested in it because I'm like tired of those kind of movies personally. Like I don't have the energy for those kind of movies anymore. So if it's that good, I might have to go check it out when it comes on Redbox maybe. But it's not nothing I really just want to just go see right now. It's just,
It's not the kind of movie I would typically see, but like I might go see it for Lupita.
That's why I went to go see it, to be honest.
I can see that. I know.
Was that supposed to be Mike?
No. No. My thing, like, I'm tired.
You're about to get kicked out of this. Like, get kicked out of the Twitter chat.
Honestly, like, Birth of a Nation was probably gonna be the last autobiographical. What the hell did I just say? Anyways, like, autobiography. That was gonna be like the last movie I was gonna see. That, I mean, even though I think that movie is very unique, it has that Disney leaning towards it, I guess. That makes it kind of seem kind of cheesy instead of just like actual like dramatic telling of this person's life, you know. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards that movie. But Birth of a Nation was gonna be the last like slave era movie I was gonna watch. Period. Like I'm done with that. Them using that era for movies, because I think there's a lot more we need to kind of cover. Like I've said, I always wanted to cover Black Wall Street, and so
yo, Mike, are you welding over there?
Nah, someone is vacuuming at the moment, and it's kind of irritating.
All right, well, let's give it a second.
Okay.
I was wondering, what the fuck is that sound?
Sounds like sparks are flying over there.
I'm like really upset right now. It's just like, yo, really? You got the vacuum right now?
And it's like 10:30 at night, though.
This is why you don't get roommates, ladies and gentlemen, right here.
I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. I know exactly what room they're into. It's like it's about to go all the way back and closer to
the
my
biggest room in the house.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
You should just say something, man. He's like, yo, fam, it's 10:30.
That's not going to work. Trust and believe. It's not going to work.
All right, well, I'll mute your track until they're done. Is it over?
No, it's not over. Can you still
hear
hear
it? Here it comes. It's coming back.
Oh, man.
Hold on.
So anyway, Queen of Catway came out in September. Mike's gonna go over there and talk some shit and get his ass beat for asking them to stop vacuuming.
So we'll spoken outtakes. Mike gets his ass beat.
Yep. Go ahead and mute me, dog.
Queen of Catway's been out since September 30th, so you can go check that out if you're trying to support instead of Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
And also, a movie that's coming out soon, Moonlight. Have you guys heard of Moonlight? Oh, shit. Like, it's switching to sixth gear right there.
I've never heard of Moonlight.
Moonlight is a coming-of-age film about a young black man in the war on drugs era Miami who is, like, coming to terms with his sexuality. And it looks...
Oh, it's got what you call
really,
it in it.
It looks really interesting.
It's got Cottonmouth in it.
Yeah, that dude is getting work right now.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen the trailer. Well, not the trailer for it. I've seen like the poster and stuff for it, but I didn't know that it was called Dope.
Yeah, that's one I'm looking. It's getting pretty good reviews from early viewings, and it's a story that isn't told very often. Like there's black coming of age movies from like a young black male perspective, like like The Wood.
Yeah.
And Dope was a couple years ago or last year. But there's not a whole lot of gay coming of age movies for people of color. It's not something that really happened. Like if you go and look up like a list of films about the LGBTQ community, it's almost always white people.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that as someone who's gay or other like not heterosexual, I'm sure you could get something out of a movie that tackles those issues, even if they're not a person of color. But at the same time, I'm sure there's specific things that people of color have to deal with if they're also not heterosexual. So I'm looking forward to that and maybe learning something.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to see it because it looks really good. Looking at the trailer, even with no sound, it looks pretty dope. Like the cinematography looks really amazing on it. Can't wait to hear Hotep Twitter talk about it though.
Yeah.
The emasculation of the black man.
If you have any Hotep friends, do not introduce them to Moonlight, or they're gonna talk about it nonstop.
Yeah.
Also,
Mike, is your vacuum cleaner finished?
Oh, Mike just took off. Mike's fed up.
We didn't have these problems with dreams.
I'm around. That's all you gotta know right now.
Anyway, okay. Moving on. I think you guys are aware of this, the Mulan script. So there is a live action movie from Disney being made right now. They're in the process of casting and I guess hopefully rewriting, because the script leaked of the live action version of Mulan, and in it apparently there was story elements where she's saved by her love interest, who happens to be like a white guy for some reason.
He was the main character.
Yeah, like it could be argued that he was the fucking protagonist in the story of Mulan.
He was like pretty much like John Smith from Pocahontas, in a story that doesn't need a John Smith at all. So it's
Mulan to this day is a dope movie to show little girls.
It really is.
And like the idea that they needed to put a white man in it is like the most fucking offensive shit ever. Like you know shit is really fucked up for the Asian American community when it comes to representation, when they can't even get lead roles in films about them. Like that is crazy. Like that Hollywood sat there and thought, everybody sat in a circle and was like, hey, you know who would be really good? If we put a white guy in this film as the main character who she falls in love with. And like at no point did anybody just go, hold the fuck up. What are you doing? To even have that even be brought up in a serious nature and anybody agree with it, even if it's only one other person, it's pretty fucked up, and it tells you just how underrepresented and just how Hollywood doesn't even give a damn about the Asian American community at large.
It's like very much a sign of the white male dominant figure in cinema.
Yeah. Because
they're like, at no point would someone be like, hey, yeah, let's put a Pakistani man in this movie. And like, what? Why the fuck would we do that? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah. But it makes as much sense as putting a white guy in this movie.
And and they do it too. And it's like, if you ask for like minority representation in like a period film that's like set in like some country, like, you know, like in the deep south or something like that, or like some random place around the world, they're going to say, no, you can't put, you know, this person of color in there because it doesn't make sense. It's not historically accurate. Right. That's their favorite line to go to. It's not historically accurate. We even see that in video games. You know, the game, The Order 1886, that dealt with vampires. It dealt with vampires and fucking werewolves in a fucking fictional London in which there are flying blimps or fucking blimps and shit. But people were asking for people of color, like, you know, blacks, or were blacks in London during the Victorian era. And people were arguing it's not historically accurate. Like, when you're introducing a film about fucking werewolves and shit, what the fuck what does that even mean? You know, but back to the subject of Mulan, it's like, this story took place in, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago in China, where they had very little contact with white people. And the idea is that we are all supposed to buy like this guy, John Smith, helps, or wherever the fuck his name was going to be, helps lead Pocahontas and her people to victory in the war. And it's just like, what? Like, no, that's not historically accurate, literally, but you're going to do it anyway. And you're going to claim, you know, artistic license on it. And like, it's such bullshit.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder who even penned that script. Like, how was it?
It was a white dude and this white lady.
Of course. Like, I don't know. It's like, see that kind of crap makes me scared for like the Lion King remake. See, now I'm just like, okay, now what are they gonna do with Lion King to mess that up? Because it's like, I mean, not that it's, you know, final or whatever, but the idea that someone put this script forward, knowing. They probably had to watch the first movie to even and read up on the legends to actually kind of, honestly probably didn't. You know what? I'm not gonna give them the credit for that. They probably didn't watch the first movie, or did they read the legends?
Probably just watched the animated movie.
No, even then, like, I don't even think they did that because you wouldn't know there's no white person in China. And there's no white person in that single movie. The only people in there are Mongolians and Chinese. That's it. Those are the only two nationalities or races you could put in that movie. Like, we don't need white eyes to see this movie. It was perfectly conveyed in the original animated movie. There's nothing to add there. Just do it well. You make it a little bit more mature since it's live action or whatever, you know. No Eddie Murphy as a dragon, you know, and just let it rock. That's all you got to do. Like, we've had legit live action remakes of movies before. Just do it. It doesn't, and they've been almost close to, or at least close enough to where it's not too divergent from the original film. It's simple. You don't have to do this overtly adaptational bullcrap to just sell a movie, especially when you're like taking off the focus off an entire race just so you can see something through white people's eyes. Like, I don't care about white people's eyes. to be honest, we see that crap every time we turn on TV. Let's get some legit Asian history here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in Netflix series Marco Polo. Like, they really overextended Marco Polo's contribution to the whole Mongolian conflict, but like in the the Netflix series, he's like the most important character in it. Like, I actually got in debate with somebody about this. I was like, I don't need a white dude in this to understand what's going on in their culture. And he's like, well, we need somebody. Well, he has to be white because we need to understand, you know, why they do the things they do. I was like, that makes no sense because you could simply get somebody from within the culture who's like of low standing, and then characters explain to them what's going on within the court and things like that. Like, you don't need a white person for it to be quote unquote relatable. Like, it's the fact that is still trotted out as an argument by people that, oh, you know, nobody's going to go see if there's some white people in it is like the most honestly insulting shit ever.
Really.
And like, it really, like, it's insulting to everybody else, like even fellow white people who don't really want or care about having a white representation, and to people of color, especially within the context of Mulan, which there is very little Asian representation to begin with. You're taking away a role that is literally suited for them to put yet another white dude who can get 6,000 roles in all the other films that we have out there. And it's like, it's really insulting. And then, as Mike was saying earlier, you know, this brings up a fear of other remakes. Like, are they going to do the same thing to other remakes? Like, on the situation Lion King, I hope they don't do that. I don't think they will, because they know that black people will wild the fuck out. Like, we will spaz the fuck out. Like, yo, what are you doing? Mufasa's black as shit. The dude's name is Simba. It takes place in Africa. Y'all have no place here on this one. This is us. And I think
there was a pretty big uproar from the Asian community that I saw.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I would imagine so. And that's part of the problem, is that their voice is unfortunately so small. So it's like, despite the fact that, you know, this is happening, their voice alone isn't enough to convince Hollywood that this is a bad idea. Thankfully, other people of color and even white people are like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing right now? And so hopefully they go back and admit that, this was definitely the dumbest decision we've ever made. We're going to put, you know, Asians in this movie because this is their movie. Like, literally.
It's like a historical figure.
And it's like, we won't do such stupid shit again. But like, in case they still do add a white person at the very end of it, there's always the Chinese Mulan film, which was really good. Came out 2014. I don't know the actors in it.
I remember that came out.
I did hear about that.
I have it. It's a pretty good movie. So in case Hollywood decides to,
okay,
of course.
I was just making sure.
Yeah. So in case Hollywood decides that, you know, white is right again,
they already have. Remember Great Wall with what's his name?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I literally tried to delete that from my mind.
Yeah,
Matt Damon.
I saw a trailer for it on my Twitter account, so I
Again, you can write a story that takes place in any part of the world during any time, and somehow you can justify a white person. It's the craziest shit ever.
We don't need white people as audience surrogates in any film. We really don't. Like, I never understood that. Like, white people are just clueless about everything in general. Like, you can't take a little kid or someone that's related but not too close to the main story to be audience surrogates. You don't have to do that. Mulan by herself works well as an audience surrogate because she's naive, she's young, she's trying to, I'm just basically.
Yeah, she was somewhere she doesn't belong.
Right. We had to understand how the Chinese military worked, even though it probably wasn't a, one-to-one, great comparison because it could have been a lot worse than what we've seen because it's an animated movie or whatever. But, she worked well alone as an audience surrogate. Eddie Murphy's character actually kind of worked well as exposition because he kind of explained what was going on with her story or whatever and why she had to do what she had to do other than the character herself having this loaded backstory and still being enough of a newbie to be an audience surrogate. Like, this is like writing 101, pretty much.
Mushu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
It comes across really lazy.
Yeah, it does. It is. It's terribly lazy. It seems like you didn't do your research. So, yeah.
Because every society creates people on the fringes of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go anywhere in the world and not find people who feel or are treated like outsiders, who you could just use as story elements. And yeah, forcing a white guy into the story, Mulan, is like one of the worst things I've heard as far as whitewashing film.
Look, the only time I've been like sort of okay, and this is slightly okay, it was Last Samurai because we did have Americans come over to Japan to, start a trade route, but. Come on, Tom Cruise being a samurai dog? Like, come on.
I know.
That killed my suspension of disbelief.
I swear, man, we're like 4 years away from Mark Wahlberg playing Shaft.
Tom Hanks, man. Tom Hanks. Last Negro on Earth.
It's coming, man. Don't say I didn't warn you.
I'm expecting it.
That's just terrible. Hopefully they'll just burn that script and trust it with someone else. Maybe an Asian American writer or screenwriter that can really adapt.
You're asking for too much from Hollywood, my guy.
Yeah, I am, man. Yeah, damn. Yeah. At least we got Ryan Coogler on Black Panther, though, so that's something, right?
Yeah.
That's Ryan Coogler is too talented to drop the ball on that one, I think.
You know what? I'm not. I hope he does it, but it can happen. So I'm not gonna say anything.
I got my fingers crossed, but I got a lot of faith in Ryan Coogler.
It's a great cast, great director. Marvel is after the Paul Rudd situation with Ant-Man or whatever. They've kind of pulled back a little bit. I hope so. Hopefully they let him just do what he wants to do because Black Panther's dope, and yeah. So hopefully everything pans out there, but I would hope for Hollywood to kind of start shifting its ideas, not just when it comes to representation and acting, but representation when it comes to writing scripts and the people behind the camera. Because I'm starting to see a lot more black directors, like the director of 13, the documentary. Love that she's getting a lot of press for her work. I can't think of her name right now. Ava.
I never know how to pronounce the last name, so I don't try.
Yeah, but I'm glad she did Selma, right? She did Selma, right?
Oh crap! Yes.
There we go. Was that a yes or like shit? I don't know. Yeah.
You heard him typing as he said it.
But yeah, I'm just happy to see different people behind the camera instead of just always in front of camera. We need representation in both areas, but we need to just kind of work on that background. I would love to see an Asian American, especially one that's well versed in Chinese history, not just just Asian, but a Chinese American to work on some of what they feel like their culture.
I think that's something that Ryan Coogler actually said.
Yeah,
about what has made him successful in Hollywood is that he looks for diversity in the people he hires to be around him, and he said specifically that he's hired black women who have given him insight that other people he doesn't believe would have, because they have a different perspective on life.
Yeah, like You hear that repeatedly when it comes to hiring, like diversity breeds much better products at the end because you have people from different backgrounds and perspectives on life who help contribute to the overall product. And it's true for pretty much every field, which is why I always crack up dying laughing when people are like, oh no, basically only white people can really make good movies. And I was like, no, you guys, any movie that you have made would probably be better with other representation in it, because when you have like just an echo chamber of, for lack of a better word, white men making the movie, writing the script, but trying to write the perspective of other characters of different genders or racial backgrounds, it comes off as fake as hell, like almost every single time. Like, especially like when like you have people who write black characters, they always rely on like stereotypes that they've grown up hearing and things like that. And then like people who are black are just like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, why do you people write this constantly? Like, there's a certain saying to write, like writing what you know. And it's like, unfortunately, most white people do not know anything about other people of color, period. Like, it's just that's the reality.
That's why I was kind of upset when Quentin Tarantino said he could do Luke Cage better. I'm like, dude, no, you just watched a whole bunch of blaxploitation flicks and think that's how black people actually talk. Like, dude, no. Chill, bruh. I like Django, but chill, bruh. Nah. Just nah. Let bro do his work. And he did pretty good.
All right, let's talk about something a little uplifting after all this negativity we had going on. There is a school, let me see the name of the school, Robert W. Coleman Elementary. And this school has started practicing meditation in place of detention.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, in this practice, the misbehaving children are encouraged to sit in a room and go through practices like breathing and meditation to calm down and recenter. And they have seen surprisingly positive results, as this encourages the children to think through why they're there and understand that their disruption isn't helping anyone. And so they have a place called the Mindful Moment Room where they encourage children to sit and meditate. And one of the amazing part of the story is towards the end, when one of the kids who was sent there talks about going home with this lesson and seeing their mother come home from work stressing out and them showing their mom how to meditate and it helping her with her stress. So these kids are actually applying like these extracurricular skills that they're learning at this school. It's helping them at school. It's lowering the detention rate. And it's also, benefiting the community by them helping and educating their parents on how to deal with stress that they deal with. So I thought that was really dope. See, this was on Upworthy.com.
That sounds cool. That's an alternative to just like put them in a corner or, moving their seat somewhere else where they're isolated and irritated and stuff like that. I guess I've been so far gone from elementary school. It's kind of like I barely remember like what the punishments really were. I remember we had this card system or whatever where if your card stayed green, like had green, yellow, red, like the lights, stoplights, whatever. If your card stayed green the entire time, you got like a surprise at the end of the week, like a free ice cream or some crap like that. I don't remember that really working very well because after a certain point, you just didn't care about some ice cream or whatever. You just go home and get some food. You know what I mean? And I remember, I don't know. I remember it being effective like when they first introduced it, but once you kind of learn how to work the system, like most kids know how to do, after a certain point, it kind of just became ineffective or whatever. And then the bad kids just be bad kids. They don't really care about no ice cream or any free treats or whatever. They just they do what they want to do. And I think meditation is actually a really good idea. It's because from what I heard, it's like it's social too. It isn't just like they isolate you and stuff like that. It's a social day. Like everyone's like together, kind of breathing and learning how to meditate, and that's something I didn't learn myself. So I appreciate little kids learning something that's stressful because life is stressful, and you need every little thing that can help you get unstressed. I believe,
Yeah, I think it's really great that they're implementing this, especially since like you look at statistics and young people of color, kids, little brown kids, are more likely to get detention and get suspended than white counterparts. It's so weird to try to talk properly about kids, like giving them a title like that. But yeah, so
what about children of color?
Children of color. Is that?
I mean, that's the best way you can put it. Little brown kids. It sounds so
little brown ass kids.
It just sounds kind of awkward. Like, okay.
Like, so yeah, they by and large are singled out.
Yeah, ISS sucked. I never liked the concept of the detention. I was like, what is me staying after school really going to do for me? You know what I mean?
Yo, my detention in elementary school was the worst because it was 30 minutes after school once class let out. And then once you were there, you weren't allowed to do anything. Like, you couldn't read, you couldn't do your homework, you couldn't do shit. You just had to sit there for 30 minutes.
What's the point? What does that teach you? Oh, just don't go to detention anymore? Like,
basically, like every kid walking out there was just frustrated and mad. Like, it didn't help us in any way.
So all we did was just sit there and like write spelling words out 50 times or whatever. Like, that was going to just help us out or something. Not spelling words, but like, I will not do blank. I will not, like Bart Simpson on the chalkboard in the Simpsons intro. That's pretty much how we were, dealt with. I never did like that. Same thing with out of school suspensions. Like, what does that do? You just sending them home. They need to be in school. Why do that? So I think meditation is actually a really good idea. It's an alternative. And there's a lot of stuff they need to work on, I think, school system wise in a lot of areas. But I think that's a great start. I do think if you're going to have things like in school or detention, that you need to make it homework time. Like, do your homework. Because I know a lot of time when I went home, I didn't do my homework. So if I got detention, I probably would have did it. Real talk. So yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I actually really like it a lot. I might implement that with my kids, just outside of school, like, hey, let's you stress right now. When they get older, I don't think doing it when they're like a little too energetic. You know what I mean? Like, how old were these kids?
They're like really little.
Really?
We're talking like 1st through 6th grade.
Cause I don't know how my kids will be.
Yeah, they said that it was difficult to get them to sit down and like stop running and center themselves. But like they said that once they did it, that the kids all pretty much got it and started enjoying it.
Yeah, that's my only worry. It would be like my kid be like 2, just like ready to rip and run.
They also incorporated like gardening and yoga.
Yo, this is layered. Okay.
Yeah, so they're like at some point the kids become good enough at yoga where they were actually able to lead the class in yoga.
Okay, that's a skill. Like that's almost like a trade, isn't it? Like you like grow up and teach people yoga.
Yeah, if you catch on to yoga young, I'm sure you could run with that and do well for yourself.
That could be like a side job in college. Run the yoga class or whatever at your school. Side money. That's it. That's genius. Why don't we do stuff like this?
Because America's all about punitive punishment, man. It's not about
the schools too often try to copy our shitty justice system.
Yeah.
Where it's more important to punish than rehabilitate and correct behavior. This is probably going to be our last story, but I thought this was a dope story about kids too. So this is an article from NPR about a barbershop in Michigan.
I read about this.
Yeah, it's called Fuller Cut. And kids who go to this barbershop, they get a $2 discount off their haircut if they read a book aloud to the barber. Yeah, so what this program does is, it helps kids with their reading, helps them become stronger readers, and, helps their parents out by taking some of the charge off their usual haircut. And it's really dope. It's called Fuller Cut, and they actually accept book donations if you want to help them out. And there are similar programs, I think. So you could probably look or go even ask like your local barber if they're doing anything like that to try and help.
Nah.
Try to help. Mike's barber's like, you ain't get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Yeah, but this is mostly geared towards kids. Like, we're not talking about you, Mike, going in there and like with your boy trying to get $2 off your haircut.
Yo, I just read Kant's philosophy on existentialism here, dog. Let me get them $2 off my haircut. What do you want me to read this for?
This is for young kids, like 9. I think it's like beginning school until it's mostly elementary school kids. It looks like.
Man, my mom would have saved so much money with me. That shit was around when I was a kid.
Right? How much are the haircuts though?
I don't know. It's $2 less.
So like $13, $14.
And this is Michigan too, so
kids usually run cheaper, like maybe like
that's true.
$8,
maybe like $7 now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my haircuts like $15, $12. So I'm like,
yeah,
that's cool though. I always appreciate things like that. I've also seen like around my neighborhood like mini libraries on people's like right by their mailboxes or whatever. Mostly in white neighborhoods for obvious reasons, but it seemed like a good idea if the kids want to see a book they want to read. They take it out and they put it back when they're done. I don't know how effective it is. I just never seen a kid actually do it because I don't stay in the neighborhoods long enough to see it. But I've seen those a lot. I was like, that's a decent idea. I don't know how effective it actually is, but you know, I anything that leads kids to like read more, just be more, just to do more instead of just sitting around not doing anything at all. I sound like an old person when I say that though, because sometimes sitting around is kind of cool. But I don't know. It's anything that encourages kids to just do more and do better. I think is always dope. Instead of just being hit by this terrible system of schools and stuff like that just doesn't want to see them succeed. They just want to get those test scores in so they can be funded and get their teachers pay raises. It's depressing.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see people are taking steps regardless of how the system works. That's outside. So yes, I definitely appreciate that. $5 haircut, son. What was it called? Fuller Cuts?
Fuller Cut in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Ann Arbor, Michigan. Okay, cool. So if you're up in the Michigan area, go take your kid up there. Make them read Green Eggs and Ham. $2 off your haircut.
That's about it for this episode. We're almost at the time. We're like less than a month away from Election Day.
Yep. All hell fucking Emperor Trump.
I don't know. It's looking kind of. It's looking.
I was being sarcastic.
I know. I'm just. I've actually kind of been optimistic. Oddly enough, like I've been kind of down on it. I'm trying to avoid everything. But after the infamous Trump video and the pretty much implosion of his entire campaign or whatever, despite the fact that that's what took everyone to kind of jump off his ship. Not everyone, but certain people. I've been highly optimistic. I don't know why. This could just be like, the calm before the storm, but I hopefully everything will turn out cool and I can enjoy the rest of my November in some kind of peace.
Yeah, was it November
28th? No, it's 28th. Remember? 28th.
Yeah. So if you're a Trump supporter, it's November 28th, yeah. Special election day.
Get out
but
there.
For everyone
vote.
Else,
that's early voting.
If you're voting Hillary, it's November 8th. But if you're voting Trump, you have to wait till the 28th to vote.
Are you guys early voting? I think I might go ahead and do that because I don't want to catch those lines on the day of.
I don't know. You get a day off from work.
I can still get a day off work. I work Lyft, remember?
Well, now it's work Lyft. I'm gonna take election day off probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you, but I just don't hit those lines. Cause I know I live in I guess like a church like right up to my street or whatever that I'm voting at, and I just know how those crowds are. So I'm just like, let me just go in as soon as possible, get my vote in. Also, during your election, always pay attention to the local stuff that's going on around you. I know Georgia has a few amendments that they're posting. I just found a random website. I don't know if other states have this set up with their information, but I just read up on a few amendments that Georgia having that I just like, whoa, this is very important. Doesn't anyone know this? Kind of deal. So always just don't pay attention to the normal presidential election stuff, but pay attention to your senators, your congressmen, and any other local things you have going on, because those are also very important. I think we put too much emphasis on our presidency sometimes, and we don't really pay attention to what's going on around us. Because if you do pay attention to your presidencies, you start to feel like your vote doesn't count, especially in a state like Georgia where it's a red state, and it kind of makes you feel like your vote doesn't matter. But it matters when you vote locally. It matters so much because that's what's affecting you directly on your day to day. So please, if you're going to vote, you have a few weeks or whatever to kind of get adjusted and to read up on some stuff what's going on in your state, in your district, your county, whatever, parish, city. District.
It's real easy to register to vote too.
Yeah, I think Georgia's done. Though I think Georgia's done registration to vote, unfortunately. So,
his registration. The registration's probably closed like across the board at this point.
Yeah,
we're so close to election day.
Yeah.
Yep, and you don't want any, voter fraud going on because that's rampant.
Was it Mike Pence got in trouble for that?
Oh, he did?
He's under investigation right now, isn't he?
Is he?
I thought they launched an investigation into his investigation of voter fraud that locked up the voting rights of like 40,000 people.
Sounds about some shit he would do.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, so I don't want to give you the wrong info, but it was something like he launched an investigation into voter fraud. They found like 10 cases in the 42,000 ballots that he said had voter fraud, and now they're like, this looks like you're just trying to disenfranchise a lot, and because they were primarily black voters.
Of course.
And they're like, it's real shitty because I believe Obama beat McCain in those counties by like 11 points, and then he lost it to McCain by like 4 points or something like that. They're like, there's no reason for there to be a swing like that unless 42,000 people couldn't vote, you know?
What state was this?
So I don't, it was in his home state. I think it was Indiana.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what his home state was, so.
Yeah, so that's going on right now. Probably nothing's going to come of it, but he looks like a super shady dude.
He does. He looks like a fucking cartoon villain.
Why you got the white hair and everything? Yeah, he's definitely.
Dude, his hair looks like dog fur. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like Chihuahua dog fur. Like it's like bristly and rough. That shit doesn't even look like human hair.
Kind of reminds me
like a horrible person, man. Seriously.
Kind of remind me like Race Banner from freaking Johnny Quest. Like, I don't know. Every time I look at him, I think he's got. I'm done with that entire election. Besides when I actually vote, I don't think I need to hear another debate. I'm gonna listen to it anyway. I say that every time there's a debate, but I'm tired.
Dude, I love watching the debates. Some shits are funny as hell to me.
It's scary, man.
Dude, Donald Trump is. I'm just waiting for him to call Hillary a bitch and just to say the N word. Like, just get out of this. Yeah, he's so close. I'm just like, come on, just say it. Because it's like, it's really funny, this whole thing about the crap he said in the past coming out and stuff like that. Because it's like, suddenly people are like, Republicans up around like, oh my God, this guy's a horrible person. And it's like, dude, it took this for you to realize that he's a horrible person. And like, it just goes back to that old saying, like, they came for them, I didn't say anything. They came for the other people, I didn't say anything. Then they came for me, and there's nobody left to speak for me. Like, it's the exact same thing. Because it's like, Republicans have been saying basically the exact same thing Donald Trump has basically been saying about everybody, to include women, for decades. But finally he says it about women in general, not one woman in particular, but just women in general. And like, suddenly that was too much, It's like, oh man, when you said it about black people, that was cool because, I'm not black. I don't have any black friends. Said it about Asians and Mexicans, they're not Asian or Mexican. But then he starts talking about women, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I have a daughter or my wife or even, that person in particular. And now they're just like, oh my God, he's a horrible person. Like, everybody else is just looking at him like, no shit, you don't say.
What this really showed to me was how shitty the Republican candidates were at digging up dirt on each other.
Yeah.
Because Trump has so fucking much, and none of this was brought up in the primaries.
But they'll dig up on Hillary in a second, though, boy. They make shit up. It's like, we can't find anything. Make something up.
Or repeat verbatim the same thing that Republicans have been repeating for like the last few years on Hillary. It's just like,
and it'll eventually stick. It eventually will. Like,
and it kind of did. You hear Democrats say the same thing about Hillary that the Republicans say. I'm like, y'all don't sound like parrots.
The fucking nerve of Donald Trump to, for decades, sexually assault women and then run for president. Like, no one's gonna bring that shit up.
Oh, my favorite is nobody treats women. Nobody has more respect for women than me. Like, oh, what the fuck?
I have several women. No one respects them more than me.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that shit, like, just the fact that Donald Trump even had like the fact that he was able to beat out actual Republican politicians easily is like the most horroring thing ever. You're just like, holy shit. Like,
dude, he was like 50-50 split with Hillary like in August.
Not no more. It's like a 48.
Oh yeah, he's done.
Something.
Yeah, it's like yeah, he has like pretty much no chance.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Yeah, I'm like, that's why I said I'm optimistic, but it's I don't know. It's like
it was a scary couple months though,
right? like last podcast, I was like, bro, I don't even know, man. My birthday is coming up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah,
Mike is like, Canada's looking pretty good there.
Yeah, like, oh god, I'm not gonna survive the first purge.
I'm in the South, bro. That's a trip.
Yeah, you were definitely done.
Yeah,
Rip.
We're gonna have to get Slavin back.
Slavin
in the deep South, yo. What you talking about, dude?
You really think they're gonna take out Slavin?
He's at Augusta, right?
That meteor that killed the dinosaurs couldn't take out Slavin. Slavin's gonna keep on trucking.
Yeah, this is true. Slavin is like, he's father time itself, man.
You know the saying, if there's nuclear war, it's gonna be nothing but roaches and Slavin.
That was dirty, man.
Dude, it's true, man. Slavin's oldest time itself, yo. We're not making this up.
Wow.
Like, all Slavin needs to live is just Asian women, like.
All right. So that was episode 40 of So Well Spoken. We're So Well Spoken Pod on Twitter. You could find all our information on sowellspoken.com. And I'll see you guys next time.
Peace.